So last year I watched the remake 2011, Hunter x Hunter 2011, um, and I was totally caught off guard by it. And I will say that as a series, at first you're like, okay, it's a boy, he's like really spunky, great. It's like this every freaking hero I've ever seen in an anime. You know, it's like Goku, Luffy, now Gon here. He's like every freaking male protagonist in every shonen ever. So at first you think it's going to kind of be like that, but you kind of begin to notice that as the series progresses, so too does the complexity and the depth. It grows with the series. So at first it feels like, oh great, we're on another freaking adventure. We'll find the Dragon Balls here. By the way, I love Dragon Ball, so don't get me wrong on that. But so you have your concerns like how appealing will this be in the long run? As the show progresses, so too does your wanting to watch it. Your excitement grows with the story. That is called successful story writing. When as you read it, you get more interested. If the author can continue to innovate his own work or her own work, that is the best way to engage an audience. So if your story is stagnant, you'll lose attention, you'll lose people's interest. But if you grow on your own ideas and progression, and you make characters go through many different life-changing events and character building, that's a good sign that you've done something right. And what Hunter does really effectively is it introduces characters who, there are tropes like Leorio's the loudmouth, sarcastic punk, but deep down he really cares. You got Kurapika, who is like the Sasuke, who even, there's an eye similarity. He gets red eyes when he's pissed, kind of like how I think Kishimoto took that idea for the Sharingan. Emotion awakes the Sharingan. But eye mythology has been a big thing in Asian culture for a long time, so even Western culture. So you have your tropes. Gon is the protagonist trope, the very enthusiastic, let's go get him attitude, like I'm just confident. But I like how Togashi throws in the twist that his father left him as a young boy. And so there's a reason as to why he's so positive, because he's trying to reach his father, who's out in the world, being a hunter. Which, if you don't know the series, this video is not going to explain the series entirety, but I'm just giving you the framework as to why I believe this series is really captivating to a lot of people. So he goes out. You have a reason. You have a catalyst as to why Gon is so spunky and confident. And then the most essential part to this show in many people's minds, and in mine, I'm going to say it as well, Kiowa. Kiowa is the real reason why this show appeals to a lot of people. Now, I'm going to explain why Kiowa is my favorite character by a decent margin, but also because, or also why his placement in the story is so pivotal. So, at the first exam, you got Gon, Kurapika, and, Leorio. Long day at work, sorry. They're at the exam. Everyone, all the participants are like grouped up in this underground room, and they're all trying to wait to see what's going to happen next. And you meet this little boy on a skateboard named Kiowa. Now, at first, I wasn't impressed by Kiowa. I just thought like, oh great, here's the fourth character. I knew they were going to be introducing more characters given the opening. Oh, here he is. Great, another like sidekick. He's going to be like Sasuke, or he's going to be like another anti-hero guy who's going to off-put Gon's enthusiasm with probably more negativity. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. But no, Togashi does something wonderful with this character. He turns a cold-blooded assassin child, which Kiowa was in his family, that's how he was brought up, he turns that over time into a sympathetic, loving and caring individual who does not want to kill anymore. I mean, first of all, his name is Killua. I mean, come on, this is like not rocket science here. And he evolves into wanting to protect Gon at all costs. So you go from, I'll kill anybody without caring as long as that's what I'm told to do, to fighting against his destiny, fighting against his origins, and then finding a new reason to live, which is protecting Gon. And what I love the most is in this relationship between these two main protagonists, you have a very deep connection that is, for that age, is really refreshing to see 12-year-old characters develop this close relationship. It's kind of, what's so great about it is, you know, there's nothing romantic about this. It's simply like you find that brotherly or sisterly figure in your life that you would, you know, tell anything to, trust anything with, that type of person. And Killua, he finds a new reason to live when he meets Gon. And that right there makes a damn good character. Not only that, but Killua's maturity level is like 20 years ahead of his age. And you rarely see main young characters act that maturely. It's very refreshing. Because not all kids, some kids do act mature for their age. It's good to portray that because, you know, I wouldn't say Gon's immature, but he's kind of innocent. Whereas Killua is anything but innocent. He's killed and massacred countless people without a blink. And now he has a reason to live. And, you know, you could take the approach, well, he's going to atone for his sins. But then you argue, well, he was just a kid, right? Like, what's the morality lesson here? So should Killua pay for his crimes? It's a very deep character to consider. So Togashi, in my opinion, wrote one of the best characters in story history. There are a few characters I find that appealing. You know, and when you combine those elements, you get a great individual in a story. And then Killua's existence helps everything. Because whatever happens to Gon impacts Killua, and it affects him, and then that will shift the story a little bit. And then you have Killua's own demons to deal with, his family, and like their trust in him, and then the fact that he wants to get away from it all. His brother wants to potentially kill him, and all these things. It's just really well done. And you tie all that deep emotional development into a very creative world where, you know, you blend technology and nature in a lot of ways. You could actually kind of call it a portrayal of the future if we were to still have a more rural way of living, because we go from islands to big cities to, you know, canyons. There's a lot of different environments the stories take place in. It kind of reflects a very diverse open world. And so within the fantastical, we find the very nitty-gritty, dirty reality stuff, like a deep emotion and sadness and sorrow and regret and guilt and passion and loneliness. And there's so many different emotions in this story. And that's really why I think it appeals to people. You know, the Nen stuff is awesome. And it's explained in an awesome way. So, like, the lore part of the Nen and the energy and the attacks and all that stuff, while it's the central part of the story in many ways, it's not. The central part of the story is the character development. And that's kind of, if you can look past the action aspects, you'll notice the show isn't that action heavy. For all the fact that it's a shonen, you look at it, and there's actually a lot of non-action sequences going on. A lot of talking, a lot of discussion, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of strategic thinking. It's actually one of the most strategic shows I've ever seen, where the characters plot out what they're going to do. They think about their opponent's weaknesses, and they think about, like, why is he deflecting my attack? What's he doing? What type of Nencaster is he? Like, there's all this. It's a very creative yet deep show. And I guess that's where I'll leave it for now. I was going to talk about Naruto in relationship to this, but I think that a lot of people know the ups and downs of Naruto. It's a lot more mainstream. And, I mean, if you really want to compare Naruto to Hunter x Hunter, there are some parallels between both series. I think Kishimoto got some inspiration from Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball. But in all honesty, all of these anime you've watched, they come from mythology. All this stuff has existed in the past. The whole idea of ki, energy, this is an ancient Buddhist teaching. This is, Chinese martial arts. The inner soul, energy, this is all, nothing about that is original in any of these shows. I mean, the fact that they, make it a combative weapon and stylize it is probably the original part of it, but the theory is the same, basically. You train, you make your energy stronger. But even there, Togashi makes it more interesting. He adds his own flavor to it. And Kishimoto, I give him credit, he also adds his own flavor to the energy source. So I kind of, appreciate when an author is able to evolve a story over time to engross you, the reader or viewer, whatever media you're watching, to realize that you will want something that grows. Because here's an example. I think a lot of people didn't like Naruto's Fourth Great War arc as much because the character development stopped. The only character who had, well, there were a few characters that had development, but Naruto got power-ups, nothing to do with character development. Sasuke, he kind of had development, but it really was just a revealing of his true motives. Kakashi and Obito were the two characters that had the most development in the entire war arc. And I'm not saying I don't like Kakashi. I actually do like Kakashi for the most part. But Obito, however you want to say, Swagbito, he can get on your nerves. The animated version of him is actually all right. The voice actor does a nice job conveying his conflicted personality, but in the manga form, he was just a pain in the ass. I wanted that guy to burn. I think a lot of us just wanted him off our frickin' pages. That's a character who you don't appreciate for the most part because they drill into your head this notion that he's a troubled guy. And, he does turn around to help save the day, but there was too much drilling in your head. And the fact that Obito, he was the villain for so long, and then to just turn at the end into a good guy. That's what kind of felt stale, right? There were no benchmarks for Obito's character in the long run to slowly become good. No, he just became good at the end because he had nothing else to live for. I mean, honestly, there should have been moments where Obito had to really make some tough choices as Toby. The only time I appreciated Obito's character is when he saw Rin die. That was the best part of Obito's character. Besides that, I wasn't impressed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very long discussion video. I feel like that's the reason why these types of series appeal to people, the majority of people, because they understand you have to make your characters as alive as possible, and that means they have to go through those life-changing events. They have to come to grips with some real issues. They have to fight their demons. They have to go through a lot of shit so that they can evolve and grow. And depending on how you portray those obstacles and those encounters and those instances, it will dictate the success of your story. So I hope you guys appreciated that. I might do more of these talks because I do love story writing and character development. So I may revisit this topic. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. And if you haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, go watch it.